Hello and very warm welcome to Dr. Ahmed YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss here a very short story by Mark Twain. The story title is Eve's Diary, and it's written by Mark Twain. Mark Twain, who's an American writer. His real name used to be Samuel Langhorne Clemens, and he adopted this pseudonym for writing. That was Mark Twain. He's a successful short story writer, prolific writer rather. Was born in 1835 in Florida, Missouri, US. And in the same way, he continued to write as a humorist, as a journalist, as lecturer, and as novelist also. Got a big name in writing of literature. Some of the books became very famous with respect to his writings. He is known as a successful humorist, novelist, and a great person in the world of literature. He became a public figure as well. He's in this way in America, he is one of the beloved writers. This short story, Eve's Diary, as the title goes to suggest, is about the traditional biblical stories that we have been listening, we have been reading in the world of literature, that Eve and Adam were born in heavens, in paradise, but with the passage of time they violated the will of God, and ultimately they were transported down to earth, and here they lived for a long time. So the story is well known to everyone, but here only the part of Eve is shown to us, not the story how she descended down, but the way she was present in that condition in the early days. She imagines that this is what the writer is trying to tell us in the story. The summary of the story is like that. That Eve is born, and just after one day she's thinking about herself, that she is 1 day old, and is very curious and is trying to see here and there, and she thinks that probably she's going to be an experiment. And later on, with the passage of time, she discovers the world of nature around her. She finds out in her curiosity man, Adam, and she wants to be happy with him, but he does not talk to her too much, and that makes her sad up to some extent. She teaches him a lot of things and talks to him as well. She loves him, and she finds him quite agreeable, quite good person. So in that way, a long time passes, and after some time, the Eve dies. So this is what the story is going to be. The summary of the story is going to be. We should say that here in this short story, Eve's Diary by Mark Twain, protagonist is Eve herself. While Adam is playing a passive role, he's not that important. He is the person who would appear stronger, powerful, but not that vocalist. This is what is happening in the story. So the protagonist is Eve here. And we can understand Eve's story, which is supposed to be written in a diary, in different ways. For example, first of all, Eve's is shown to be very happy when she looks at the stars. She feels very good and thinks that twinkling of the stars is very good. She would like to touch them, she would like to bring them down, and she would like to see them, and whenever there is somebody good, she would like to give him the gift of these stars. That goes to show how much shining and twinkling things attracted the mother of humanity, Eve, there, and that is why she was so much interested in that. She wanted to do that. Same was the case about her understanding of the moon. According to her, moon appeared, and after that it disappeared for some time, and it was thought perhaps it has fallen down, or it has done something wrong, or it is in the wrong hands. She was expecting the moon to be there because it was also one of the beautiful things. So the two observations of this Eve are the appearance of the stars and then the appearance of the moon as well. She loves moon very much too. That is the second important thing that we may be understanding in the story. She also talks about the resting day. For example, people went on resting day on Sunday probably, and she says that no, they should have gone on Saturday because Saturday is thought to be the resting day. In the beginning of the time, according to her, everything was in rough shape. It was not in beautiful shape, but the nature was there, and that nature was scattered everywhere in the shape of the animals, in the shape of the trees and the mountains and the streams, and all beauty of nature was present there, and she would like to discover each and everything which is beautiful there. And for this purpose, she continued to roam about here and there and everywhere in order to find out what the nature is going to be. She spent a lot of time in the garden, which is called Garden of Eden, and she therefore after some time is able to meet Adam. And first of all, she was afraid of Adam. She didn't want to talk to him, and she just looked at his features. But later on, with the passage of time, she says that she became habitual of him, and in that way, they had long walks, and sometime he was being followed by Eve, and sometimes Eve was being followed by him. In that way, the matter of love started to grow between them, as the short story tells. Biblical stories may be different from that, but I'm talking only here about the short stories. Without touching the biblical story, whatever it was there, I would restrict myself to Mark Twain's short story. That here, first of all, Eve says that Adam was not that vocalist. He was not able to talk that much. He didn't know the names of things, and he wouldn't utter anything at all. Sometimes he spent lots of days and hours quite silent, but with the passage of time, he started to speak, and she was so happy when she listened to the speech of Adam, and that is why then they started to talk with each other, spend time with each other, and feel good in the company of each other. One more thing is very much important, that sometime when Adam became silent, or he disappeared, or he didn't talk to Eve, she became sad as well. So that goes to show that there was a love growing between these two people. Now, this love is of two types in this short story. One is the static love, and other is the complex matter of love. The static love which Eve has is between her and the nature available there. How much she loves the leaves and the flowers and the trees and the plants and the smells and the scents, that is very great for her, and that is the static type of love in her mind. And complex love is that which grows between Adam and Eve, and that is emotional as well. That brings tears also, that brings happiness as well, that brings sadness as well. So the true human test and true human nature reveals here, and that is why this love is the complex state of love or type of love that has been portrayed by Mark Twain. Going further, in order to see what is inside the story, love is there, of course, and attraction is there, of course, and actually, in that time when Mark Twain was writing this short story, Sigmund Freud's ideologies and his preaching had become quite common, and according to him, or according to his psychological theories, the opposite things attracted each other, as men and women were opposite to each other, and that is why Eve felt very much attracted towards Adam, and Adam felt very much attracted towards Eve. So in this way, the short story becomes an interpretation of Sigmund Freud's theory of psychology, that the opposite bodies would attract each other. Similar bodies would not attract each other in the same way as the opposite bodies would attract as far as the human beings are concerned. So in this way, the modern short story is the interpretation of the modern ideology of psychology proposed by Sigmund Freud. Same is the case with the American people, for example, in the 19th century, then in 20th century. We have most of the time thinking of the American people like very curious or inquisitive type of nature. They wanted to know everything. They wanted to discover and explore everything. So Eve's exploring and discovering inside the Garden of Eden, as it's written there in the short story, reflects the inquisitive nature or the style of the American people at that time. So as the people were present, Mark Twain tried to reflect them in that story by taking the clue from the explorations of Eve of the world, which was still to be explored. So in this way, this short story is also an interpretation of American inquisitive nature as well. There is some more to this story, and that is the discovery of fire. Eve discovered fire and she used it as well. She was very much happy at that time, as it is written in that Eve's diary by Mark Twain. She was very happy when she discovered fire, and she tried to use that fire as well, and she got burned up to some extent because of the fire as well. So whatever she discovers which is useful may become harmful for her as well. That is the kind of arrangement which the writer would like to point out. But as everything is there, same is the case with the fire, that if fire on the one hand provided warmth, provided some kind of pleasure and enjoyment, but it also burnt. Same is the case with love, that love provided emotional support or satisfaction on the one hand, but it would make the human being familiar with the pain of love as well. So in this way, both the sides of the story go to reflect that if on the one hand there was something missing and that brought the pain, and on the other hand, if you get something, that would again bring good and bad, pleasure and pain, both in that. So everything comes in packages, not just in one style. If the good thing is there associated with some discovery, then definitely there would be something bad also associated with the same. So in this way, If Eve was finding solace in Adam's arms, she was also finding pain because of Adam, as the pain of love. So the story is having number of reflections that can be talked about, but one of the important thing, which is the theme of the story as well, that is the disappointment with the kind of creation, with the kind of life, with the kind of things that the human beings are doing. So in Eve's story as well, she in then becomes disappointed. She's not happy in that way as she has found. She would be feeling disappointed because of the matter of love which she has got with Adam. She would be disappointed with number of other things also in her life. Same is the case with the human being's life on this earth, that they would like to make this earth as paradise, and for this purpose, scientific inventions, lot of other clever crafts would be invented by them in order to seek pleasure. But in the end of the day, they would be disappointed from that as well, because of the both of the sides of any story, that is good and bad. So the story goes to reflect the disappointments of human beings also, not only that of the Eve. This story is more about the people of America as compared to this is simply the biblical story of Eve. People of America, in the sense that American people tried to create their own country, their own visages, in order to find out what good life can be there. They had a dream and they called it American dream, and they would see that ultimately the dream may be realized or not, but it didn't bring the similar kind of happiness which was expected, and sometimes it seems to be failing, and sometimes it seems to be giving good things, but alongside that the bad things would also come. So that is what we can say about the short story. It's a very short story divided into certain parts with respect to the days which Eve lives there. The days can be counted Sunday up to Saturday, and in that way the diary type of thing has also been kept in view, because because the sections of the story are made like days. When the day passes, the protagonist would write something there, what was the experience, what was the things which she saw, and what were the happinesses and sadnesses she felt. So in that way, the story is written truly in the diary style. That is why the title is going to be Eve's Diary. But it may not be 100% about the biblical story of Eve, and it may not be just the Eve living in paradise or then on earth. It is about all the Eves which are present in this world and who are spending their life in this world. It's more about the human being, especially the people of America. So this is what we can say about the short story, Eve's Diary. Possibly we may have more comments from here and there. There is a lot of information available on the story on the internet and certain websites, but this video may also be helpful to you. So if you enjoy that video, you do not fail to hit the subscribe button and to click the like button also. Alongside that, if you have any comment, please do post on that. I may be trying to answer that as well. So thank you. Hope to see you in some next video.